So let's begin with the roller from the low rib and above. We don't usually roll the low back, tends to be a little too sensitive. Work yourself through your shoulder blades, gently up and down, massaging the paraspinal muscles, the muscles that line your backbone. Adding a side bend to your right will help you get underneath that shoulder blade a bit. And you can always move your feet to adjust the area that you're rolling. Same idea to the left, side bending to the left and emphasizing those muscles underlying the shoulder blade a bit. Changing the width of the elbows might help you to access some of those smaller muscles. And then coming back to the center, let your hips rest to the ground. Adjust the roller, if you were wearing a heart monitor, kind of the base of the chest wall. Place the roller there. We're going to work in increments with the head supported by your hands. Find a curl up. And it's a little pulse, emphasizing the curling up. You'll feel a bit of core, but the primary objective of this movement is to reduce some of the tension that exists in the thoracic spine. So after you pulse a few times, move your hips down an inch, and now the roller's slightly higher on your back, and continue there. That movement of what we would term joint oscillation. You're gently moving the vertebra back and forth, and it helps to relieve some of the muscular tension that might restrict mobility in that thoracic spine. Do 6 or 8 there. Again, use the exhale. You can still work near the end range of motion there as you pulse, and then move the hips down an inch. The roller will go up another inch. So we're working now a new segment of the spine. Little gentle pulses here, emphasizing the up, not the back. I know the extension feels good, but for this particular movement, best to emphasize small movements, upper body curling, gently pulsing there, creating a little glide of the vertebra. Take it up one more segment. So you've got the idea here. We've covered about 4 segments. When you're doing this by yourself, feel free, there might be more areas, but for the sake of time and attention, we'll move on. After you pulse again here 6 or 8 times, emphasizing that forward movement. It's really small movement, barely perceptible, but your body will note once you move the roller back to become your pseudo pillow. Already my upper and mid back feels a little bit more of a release, a bit of softening. And then just gently turn your gaze very slowly side to side and check in with cervical rotation, the rotation of the neck side to side, not forcing anything, not giving yourself whiplash. Take it easy. And then return to the center. Allow the head to rest down. Pick the roller up and just move through a range of motion with your arms. So inhale the arms back behind you. Feel a good stretch. And exhale, return. As you carry the arms back behind, can you keep your rib cage generally heavy? A lot of times there's a tendency or desire to overarch the back and flare the ribs. That tends to disconnect us a bit from that core engagement, and rather than stretching our shoulders, we end up just arching our back. So become aware of what else needs to stabilize in order to find full shoulder range of motion. And then return the arms back over your chest. Let's take a little protraction and retraction. So actively reach the roller away from you, and retract, draw the shoulder blades into the earth. Continue that a few times. I should say, you can get a foam roller between $15 and $20 on Amazon. I I've made a few purchases over the past week, and Amazon thus far has been quite reliable in those items. A roller will serve you long after the virus is done. Place the roller on your thighs, press your hands in towards the roller. Use a breath, gently connect the belly to the back, and from that place, begin curling up the head, the shoulders, maybe to the tips of your shoulder blades. Sink your belly, relax the hips, little energy, and lower yourself back down. Let's try that again. Inhale, feel the length of your spine, float the head, exhale, press, curl up. And lower it back down. One more time. Inhale here. Exhale, little active isometric as you press into the thighs, maybe deepening the connection of that belly into the backbone. And return everything back down. All right. Now for the fun part, a little bit of a balance exercise. We're going to rest ourselves, rest our spine on the roller. I love how it feels to my back, but I've developed some tolerance over the years. I have some clients who will line the roller with a light blanket. In part, just depends on the density of the roller. So once you're here, let's add the arms. Well, you know what? Just relax for a minute. I want you to feel bony landmarks. Feel your tailbone onto the roller. Feel your sacrum onto the roller. Take note that your low back has a degree of space. That's your lordotic curve. It's supposed to be there. Ribs pretty heavy. Thoracic spine quite heavy on the roller. And then as you get underneath the cervical spine, there's a space there. Don't try to close up the space. You could feel a sense of lengthening through the crown of the head, but we're not jamming the chin to the chest. So with the palms up, close your eyes. Take a couple of breaths here. Feel the rise and fall of the belly, of the chest, and the sideways expansion, like an accordion, of your rib cage. Keeping the alignment from head to tail stable, add some arm elevation. So inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, return the arms back toward your sides. 2 more times. Inhale, reaching the arms. Feel the length head to tail. And exhale, return. One more time. Inhale the arms back overhead. Exhale, and just see where they land. Perhaps the range of motion is such that you have the ability to touch the ground. It may be that they're still floating. And then make a circle. Sweep the arms around. Let's make a few circles. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, circle the arms. Appreciate that pec stretch. Our chest gets tight from sitting over a keyboard, looking at our phone. Whatever daily demands pull you into that forward flexion, it affects the balance of the body. Reverse your circles. Inhale the arms up overhead and exhale, return. 2 more times. Use your breath to create calmness, to create a sense of focus, to bring you into connection. One of the Pilates principles is that of our center. Center being core, but I also reflect that our center is our heart. And just feeling some openness, some calmness through the center of our body. Okay, adding on. So you'll need your arms on the earth here. You can turn the palms over. Take a breath in. As you exhale, float your right knee tabletop. There's going to be a little wiggle wobble. That's okay. Lower the right leg down. Pick up the left. Stabilization is not about being rigid and stiff. There's a degree of movement that occurs to help us maintain our balance, to teach us about our body's strength, flexibility, balance. So here, these hip knee lifts, we're just removing a point of contact by elevating the foot. If you're feeling pretty secure here, perhaps you remove a second point of contact and elevate the opposite arm. We can play with that idea a few times. The beauty of this movement, we're not flexing the spine. When we talk about the term stabilization, we're essentially stabilizing the spine and still strengthening our core muscles. And for a lot of us, the idea of multiple repetitions of flexing your spine may not be agreeable, but this stabilization of the spine in a neutral posture, and then we superimpose a challenge on top of it, may be perfect for your body. Also, you don't have to be on the roller to do these exercises. You could do all these on the ground and still get benefit. So pause, bring both arms back to the earth and bring both feet to tabletop. So moving the legs away from you, you'll feel perhaps a little bit more of an arch. As you draw the knees in towards your chest, feel the low back imprint. Let's do that a few times. Inhale the hips and knees away from you a few inches. And exhale, draw the knees back into the chest. Notice your rib cage. As you begin to move the hips and knees away from you, does it take more core control to avoid overarching the back? As you draw the knees back into your chest, can you sink your abdominals away from your thighs? One more time. Inhale towards more of a neutral position. Exhale in towards the imprint. Stay in the imprint and take a little alternating toe touch. Focus on your breath. It doesn't have to be at my direction. I'm inhaling up and exhaling down. But as long as you're not holding your breath, not overly straining, it's all good. Great. Now we did that with the low back in more of an imprint position. Progress your knees over your hips. Take a nice breath that seals your core, like you're tightening a belt, and then alternate toe touch from this neutral position, where now my low back is not quite touching. Depending on your lordotic curve, you may still feel it gently into the roller. But we're just challenging our strength a little bit in an imprinted position versus the neutral position. Find a little bit of a diamond shape. Frog legs, knees over the outer edge of the shoulder. And you might find a little bit of a hip release here. Those inner thighs get a bit of a stretch. Still maintaining neutral through the center, not overarching the ribs. And then move back through the middle, and we'll internally rotate the hips and tap the toes towards the outer edge of the mat. And again, find what's comfortable for you. None of this should cause pain, undue strain, so do what's right for your body. Nice. And then returning to the center, rest one foot to the earth, rest the opposite foot down to the earth, and just pause here. Hands can go behind the head. We'll experiment here with a bit of a curling up, so pressing the head into the hands, floating the head, and curling the chest just to the shoulder blade line, and then lower yourself back down. Two more times there. Inhale here. Exhale, lift and curl. And return. One more time, inhaling here. Exhale, lift and curl. And then return. Great. Slide, slither your way off your roller. And just rest on your back for a minute. And take note of how you feel, how those muscles feel. Often we don't realize how much we're working on the roller. Our smaller muscles, our intrinsic muscles is the word I was searching for. The intrinsics are working extra hard to stabilize us, and once we feel the security of the mat, they recognize, we can relax a little bit. So it's a great combination of contract, relax, strengthen, relax. A lot of people will use the roller before they go to bed. It just helps to ease the central nervous system a bit. All right, rock and roll yourself up to sitting. We're going to do the reverse of those movements, so prone extension. So those exercises were focused a little bit more on the anterior, the front of the body. This next series will focus a bit more on the back. So lengthen your body onto the earth. Wrists will be placed in a Y shape near the top of your mat, on top of your roller. Thumbs are up, and your forehead could initially rest. From here, just reach the roller a little further away from you. You'll feel your shoulder blades elevate a bit. And then depress the shoulder blades down your back. Continue that. Elevation and depression. 2 more times. Shoulder blades can become rather stiff and tight, so this helps free them up. 1 more time, and it's part of body awareness too. A lot of times we move our body in a large gross manner and we don't tune into the subtleties of our muscles. And then drawing the shoulder blades down your back, start to float the head and float the chest, coming into some prone extension. Return your chest back to the earth. We'll repeat that a few times. Shoulder blades drop down the back, crown of the head lengthens. And return. 1 more time here. Shoulder blades slide down the back, chest lifts. And then return everything back through. Okay. Second set. Align the roller now between your elbow and wrist, so a little higher up your forearm. Inhale. As we exhale, this time we're going to bend the elbows and create a little higher extension from the gaze through the chest, and then lower yourself back down. Keep this movement small if this extension is not for your body. And return. 1 more time. Shoulder blades still draw down, elbows start to draw in. You don't have to heavily press on the roller. You can focus more on using your back muscles to lift rather than a heavy down to pick up. Just feel like you're using the muscles of the posterior back body to help you lift. And then return everything back down. Great. Let's take a little child's pose. Always feels good to move back into flexion after you've done extension. So feet together, knees apart. Let the hips sink back. Take a few breaths there. Walk your hands towards the right, creating a lateral bit of side bending. And then walk the hands to the left. And then return to the center. Okay. All right. Our cat-cow. So often we'll go hands under shoulders, knees under the wrist, and work into our mobility of our spine in flexion. Then check in with the mobility of the spine in extension. You can just do that if you choose. Otherwise, using the roller in poses a little bit more of a challenge. So I'm still looking for knees over hips, or knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. And from there, start to mobilize your spine into flexion. And then mobilize your spine into extension. Repeat that a few times. Exhale. And inhale. 1 more time. Exhale. Lift your abdominals. Vacuum them up. And return. Now, a bird dog. So a single arm balance. Can you elevate your right arm and bring it down? How about the left? I'm trying here to minimize any heavy weight shifting side to side, feeling strength through my center. You could even play with the idea of of the opposite leg extending or floating. It's a real challenge for me to do. Opposite arm extends, maybe that opposite leg reaches. You're not supposed to be perfect, you're supposed to be challenged. That's the goal. It's probably why I keep doing Pilates. I'll never be perfect at it, and certainly these videos will demonstrate that. Take a stretch back. They're organic. It's fun for me to share with you all. There's no real do-overs. It's my workout, and I feel better having my friends, participate, play with me. It's like the adult playground of fitness. I love Pilates for that reason. All right, one more series, and that's bridging. So very important for our glutes. Bridging with the roller ups the ante a little bit in terms of the recruitment of your hamstrings and your glutes. So again, if you don't do a lot of bridging, you might want to start with just the hip lifts here. Let's do that a few times without the roller, just to get a sense of how our body's moving from the tailbone through the low back, through the ribs. We use our glutes to stretch the front of the hip flexors. So I call it a muscle sandwich. The abdominals are drawing in, the glutes are contracting, my hip flexors are getting longer. So it's a great kind of ergonomic stretch for those of you that sit a lot during the day, and lower yourself back down. All right, so if you place your feet on the roller, take a couple of pelvic tilts. So just let the low back roll into extension, allow it to roll into flexion. And then with your feet